Hello, my name is Kiriath, and it's time for a cheeky Monday ramble. So first things first, there's been a few questions as to an update to the Malifaux video that we did, which admittedly was quite a while ago now. In fairness, I did order the hush box, but then the hush box arrived, and there was a slight issue with it in that I'm pretty sure the post office decided to transport it to my house purely through the medium of kicking, because it was trashed. Like, the box was knackered, the contents were just trashed as well. Peeked inside and went, that's a lot of that seems to be snapped and rattling around loose. I'm going to have to send this back, which I did, but then it took ages for a replacement to show up. But we do have it now. We actually do have it, so we're going to cover this week. We're going to go through it, we're going to put it together and paint it this week. So that's a thing that is finally going to happen. I've not forgotten about the game. With that little update out of the way, let's take a look at what we've got for this week's previews. And first up, we do have the new Shadow Throne box, which has got the two new lads. So is it the Blade Champion and the Reductor's Saboteur? That's it. I do like these models. They do look kind of cool. It's nice to have a new Custodes model. That's fun. And the fact that there's some Sisters of Silence for so long ignored and neglected in this box is nice. Admittedly, it's not really doing that much for me, this box. If you are a Genestealer Cults player or a Custodes player, I totally understand you picking it up, but it's not a we have to own this sort of situation for me personally. I believe the codexes are not going to be coming out with the box. If I remember right, the codexes have been delayed, which I think was just like a shipping supply issue, which they're still struggling with. I mean, a lot of places are still struggling with. I've just noticed though, on the box art, you've got the Ordo, the Saboteur, Reducto, whatever, on one side, but they're not actually on the very front cover, are they? Oh, no, yes they are. Yes, they are. They're sort of tucked away in the back there. Just for a minute, I thought they'd only included one of the new models in the art, which would have been a bit cheeky. So they have said, as with other recent big releases, the pre-order weekend promise will be active for Shadow Throne. So if you order it by Sunday, you're guaranteed to get a copy, even if they have to clear out the cultists out of the manufacturer by force to make you a new copy. So it's an improvement, okay? Here's the thing. It is technically an improvement because it means that it's not just a case of as soon as stock goes, that's it, you've had it. There's just no way to get your hand on the product. That's bad. That's rubbish, and no one likes that. This is an improvement in that, you know, they don't have that set stock level, so it's not like, well, you didn't click the button at 5 seconds past the hour, therefore you've got no chance because it's just gone forever. It is nice that there is now the opportunity to actually still get it, even if you weren't the first person in the queue every single time. It does still completely limit it, of course, because it means that if you don't have the funds by that date, then you're still not going to get hold of it. So it is an improvement. The fact that those two characters are going to be limited to this box and probably won't show up individually for a while, I don't like it. I've not liked it for a while, and I don't think I've ever really liked it. We've talked about it often enough, to be honest, about how that's not great and not really all that fun for anyone who doesn't have the, let's face it, the extra £100 lying around to buy the rest of the box that you don't necessarily need along with the new sculpts. I mean, it's just the way it is now. That's pretty much how things go, but that doesn't mean you have to be happy about it. And it's one of those situations where it's like, I like the new things in there. The only thing I'd like even more than that is if people could actually get hold of them and be able to buy them separately instead of having to shell out for the box. For some people, the box is great. The box gives them a start on a new force or expands an existing one, and they get a cool new model as well. For other people, the rest of the box is irrelevant, but they still need to shell out the cash to get hold of those characters, which may end up being really quite good. That's a little bit of a trend that we've maybe seen in the past, but I don't know. We've talked about it quite a lot at this stage. Yeah. It's just all part of the marketing, but that doesn't mean you have to like the marketing. So we also have the Battletome Maggotkin of Nurgle, which, I mean, it's been so long since they had the last one. And with this Battletome, you've got the new fancy Rotbringer Sorcerer, which I still love. I love this model. I think it looks great. I really want to pick one up to do a bit of creepy conversion work on it. As if it needs to be made any creepier, in fairness. It's pretty creepy to start with, but yeah, I don't know. I really like this guy. I really like him. Now, the nice thing about this guy is that he does not seem to be limited to a box. He is a separate release. He's not like shoved into some unique special force and you're unable to get hold of him any other way. This is the new Vanguard for like the Vanguard box for the Maggotkin of Nurgle, and you got some Playbringers in there. And as you can see, he is not present. He isn't in there. He is not a unique sculpt that you can only get in this specific box. These are all stuff that is available outside of the box as well. So yeah, I much prefer this way of doing it, and this is not that different from Genestealer cults and Custodies getting a codex and a new model, and I'm not sure why they split it the way they do when it comes to this stuff. It feels like it's very much a 40k thing, not necessarily as much an AOS thing, in some regards anyway, but I much prefer this way of doing it, so it's nice to know that he is not locked away. And there's also, as always, the dice and the data cards. The dice are just really quite sickly. Quite sickly a colour scheme, that, for the dice, which of course makes sense for the Maggotkin of Nurgle, but I would not want to look at those on the table. They're just a bit hideous, to be honest. Which again, makes total sense, but still. Now we also have some of the Dominion stuff appearing separately. So we've got the Thunderstrike command, where we've got Indrasta, the Celestial Spear, along with some Annihilators, and the other guy whose name I forget, the Knight Vexilor, that's it. So I would imagine this is going to be not that dissimilar to the breakdowns of Indomitus and the other one, where like it's going to cost a fair bit, like the Dark Imperium half, that wasn't really a half. It was like 85 quid for a few characters, like a few models. I'd imagine this is going to be pretty similar, which, I don't know, I'm going to reserve judgment for when we see the price. I would hope it's nothing too horrific, but it's kind of feels like it's gone that way when it comes to breaking down these boxes. I mean, Radakar's Court out of Curse City was like, I think it's like not that far off the cost of what the box was, especially if you got it from like a third-party retailer. So I suspect this is going to be not that different. But I'm always on the verge of hope and optimism. There's also the Cruel Boys boss crew as well, which again, it's probably going to be pretty pricey, which is a shame because I like these models. These are cool models. I do have some of these. Panny very kindly sent some over, which I need to assemble and paint because I like these guys. They look great. Add yet another AOS army to the list. It's getting ridiculous now. This is, I'll be honest, my collection, such as it is starting to become a bit more heavily weighted towards AOS than it is 40k, which is a development to be sure. In 2022, though, I'm going to end up getting a Blood Bowl team. I know this. I want this guy. This guy's solid. The dwarves also have the Death Roller, so I'm going to pick up dwarves. I'm going to pick up dwarves for Blood Bowl, and I'm going to learn Blood Bowl, and I'm going to play it, and I'm going to do dwarves, because much though I like a lot of the other teams, especially the Khorne team looks really good, I want little tanky stunties, and the fact that they're bad at everything apart from being tanky stunties doesn't matter to me, because I'll be bad at the game regardless. So I want a bazooka-toting dwarf player, and I want a giant steamroller in my game. That's what I want, and the dwarves are the ones who've got it. So that's just the way it is. I love this dude. I think this is a great model. It's really cool. It's really nicely done. I even like the kind of smoke effects on it as well. I think they've done quite a good job there. You'd have to be you're gonna have to paint that pretty well. It's the only downside, but you know what? Overall he's class. Now, White Dwarf wise, I'm actually quite excited about this White Dwarf, because we've got an update. Got an update to Soulblight Gravelords, and that's currently my only 2,000 point AOS army, and that's the one I play the most, and I've actually played quite a few games with them now, and I really enjoy it. They're not optimal, really. Not terrible, but not optimal. That's because I decided to go Avangori, which it's not the strongest. It's not the strongest list, but it is a lot of fun, and it's very manoeuvrable. It's very fast. I'm used to having quite slow armies as a whole, with lots of shooty, whereas having Soulblight Gravelords with no shooty but lots of speed is a lot of fun to play. So I want the updates. I want to go through and see if it gives me any ideas for expanding the force out a little bit, because I want to change things, but I'm not sure how yet. Just don't know what to do with them. So yeah, I'm excited for White Dwarf this time round. Also, there's like 40k stuff in it as well, which you would think I'd be more excited about, but no. It's just the way it's gone. It's just the way it's gone. Oh, and we've also got the usual glut of licensed products. So, wrapping paper, 40k wrapping paper, for if you absolutely want to wrap up your your presents with Warhammer-themed things. Go for it if you want. Absolutely go for it if you want. Also, cards. Sure. It's fine. I mean, I get like the red gobbo with the snowman. That's kind of cute. The Arcanaut frigate with all the Christmas lights on it, with a big Christmas tree over the city. That's actually, I quite like that. That's quite a nice bit of artwork. The Space Marine wandering around with a Stormcast is weird, but sure. That's just a bunch of orcs. I'm sorry, that's not a Christmas card, is it? That's not a Christmas card. That's just a bunch of orcs. They've got a red squig, but that doesn't count. Well, what is that card? It's just orcs. It feels, I don't know, that just feels a little low effort. It's like Space Marine at Christmas. The Red Gobbo at Christmas. Just an Age of Sigmar city with an Arcanaut frigate at Christmas. And orcs. Just orcs. Just orcs with guns. Sure, why? Fine, okay. And stockings as well. It's getting a bit too deep for me, you know? Like, I don't, even in the context of someone who makes videos about this stuff, this is a level down the rabbit hole that I just don't feel like I want to go. But it's fine if you do, just not my thing. And we've got some Black Library stuff. Volpone Glory, very fancy. That's a very fancy book. Ooh. Oh, God, it's Sabbath Worlds. Okay. And then we've got the not as fancy version of it, of course. Steel Tread, which I still need to read. I have got it, but I haven't read it yet. Crimson Fists Omnibus as well. And then we've got the stuff on Warhammer Plus with no animations at all this week. Okay, sure. So Lawmasters, Deep Strike, Angels of Death, and How to Weather stuff. I mean, in fairness, the Citadel Colour Masterclasses are always good. They're always good. Presented well, recorded well, very clear instructions. They're always good. Complete lack of animations is a head scratcher, though, if I'm honest. And then for the Twitch schedule, got the usual Hangout and Hobbies, Hobby Clinic and Roundup. And then on Saturday, a Black Library online preview. So that'd be interesting to see what they do with that. I have to admit, I do quite like the look of that Maggotkin Vanguard, but then again, that's because I always get enticed by the gross warriors because they look great. I think the just the horrible, like the Blight King stuff, some of the coolest models in AOS, even if they are disgusting, and I always get tempted by them. But I'm not too fussed about the demon side. I kind of just prefer the mortal side, which is, I don't know whether that's weird or not, but that's just how I tend to like look at it. And like the mortal stuff is just more interesting. So half that box I wouldn't be all that bothered about. And it's not like I haven't got plenty of other things to get on with, to be honest. Especially since if I'm committing to doing a Blood Bowl team in 2022, then that sounds like not much to commit to. But my painting is so all over the place in terms of what I do and when. I was hoping to have an entire Armoured Company finished by the end of this year. And 3 tanks from it are still in the box down there. Because instead I painted a dragon and started painting a bust and painted a bunch of D&D stuff. And yeah, it's kind of like that around here. It's very much hobby butterfly, I think, is the way to phrase it. But you know what? Maybe we turn up the frequency of painting and completing projects next year. Maybe that's the resolution to make. Is there anything in there that took your fancy? Anything that you're going to grab? Anything you're excited about? What did you feel about Shadow Throne? Whether you're going to grab that? Let me know in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things. Patreon, video, subscribe, all that stuff. Click it if you like. Don't click if you don't want to. And as always, there's an affiliate link for Element Games if you are in the UK or Europe, which you can use to support the channel if you'd like. And an affiliate link for Noble Knight Games if you're from the US, which you can also use. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.